know?
you get better with the predictions because you kind of feel like you've seen it before. You kind of know, but you never know.
You know, when people say discipline's a muscle, well, it really might be a mind muscle.
But yeah, we were talking about the military. We were talking about stuff like that. So, or I guess no. I guess
Rich Froning is what you talked about first.
Well, yeah. So we were talking about I remember when I was pushing to break that 200-pound barrier. Of course, this was all, way back in the day, all natty, all that. And it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough as hell because I wanted to be lean. I wanted to be fit. I didn't want to be and I didn't bodybuild at all at that time. Everything I did was some kind of athletic thing. So even I was powerlifting pretty aggressively at that time, weightlifting pretty aggressively. So even things like bench pressing, for powerlifting I did, but only enough that it didn't get in the way of my clean and jerk. And then curls, I was always afraid I was going to pull my bicep on a deadlift.
Yeah.
So I didn't do them, period. I did pull-ups for fitness, but so I don't.
Yeah, so you had mentioned that you've worked out before with Rich Froning, and then Christian told me one time he beat Rich Froning in a workout. They did some kind of it was a thing. And he talks about it to this day.
Yeah, if you pick the workout, I'm not there now, and not that Rich is ever going to see this, but yeah, no, he came to my gym a couple of times. His family had a condo in Panama City Beach.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we were the only gym here for a while. The workouts he would do here were all geared towards shit I like to do, and he didn't care. He's the fittest dude in the world. He needed to do all types of workouts.
Right.
So it's if I beat him, I got to pick it. But no, I did beat him, and I guess everybody in the world, at this Watify workout, sleds, power cleans, whatever. I won I won an air bike. But I used to love doing those online competitions and stuff. If it were heavy, that had my name on it.
Well, yeah, I remember the clip that I remember of you, and they were talking about you, and they're just like, Adam Cantrell, he came in and he's the power, you know?
Yeah, the grid stuff, man. Those guys did me more justice than I deserve.
Yeah, they hyped you up hard.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was nice hearing that. But
you were strong. I remember, because of you, I watched some of the grid events, and I remember watching you on this deadlift ladder. And I don't remember what the weight was, but it started pretty heavy, somewhere in the 400 pounds, and I think it ended at maybe 585 or something in that range.
I went higher than that.
And
but yeah,
in the ladder I was watching. I don't know which one it was, but people were having to brace, get their form ready, and pick it up, and you were just bending over and picking it up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. I didn't get to, I didn't have anything to do with the creation of it, but a lot of those events when it was because the way I like to train, man, I used to tell people it would be sort of linebackery training, in that it was I wanted my heart rate to be up. I wanted to feel like I was exercising. I wanted to be out of breath, but I wanted to also just lift heavy as hell.
Move weight.
Weights, yeah. So it'd be sprints on the bike and then heavy cleans. Well, that translated pretty dang well to running between barbells. So the ladder he's talking about, it'd be 405, 425. 455, 475, 495, 505, whatever the increment jumps were, and you grab one, go boom, 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 boom. Well, there's so many people in this world that are stronger than me, and so many people that were faster than me, but kind of in that weight range to out of breath range. I don't know, your boy shined. I don't know. I liked it, but
yeah, it's
I don't know.
Yeah, you crushed it. I remember watching that.
It was fun. The grid was fun. CrossFit, I liked a ton. We don't get to do a lot of competitive things as adults. Eastman and I kind of talked about that. But when you leave high school or you leave college, or maybe you and I got the benefit of doing the military, so that's kind of like a competitive environment. When you leave that competitiveness, people my whole life are oh, you're so competitive. It's be competitive back, man. Let's have fun with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You get me a gift, I'll get you a gift. We do this, I do this for you. Should be good, but we get weird about it.
Yeah.
And
what I was talking about is you talked about as we get older, there's a couple of things that I listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that. And I really like anything that's how the body and mind works is something I like. So I don't really self-improvement books. Yeah, maybe if you can improve yourself just by understanding those things.
If you know yourself, you can improve yourself.
And so one of them I, listened to recently, was talking about your brown fat in your body decreases as you get older. And what they found is that brown fat is really for people that have to like overcome harsher environments and stuff like that. But because, I mean, we pretty much live our entire life in a climate controlled setting. Everything like you don't shiver. Your car. Well, I mean, yeah, it's hot when you get in, but
we don't excessively sweat or shiver.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then two, I heard something that said like 90% of people over the age of 30 will never sprint again.
Crazy.
That blows your mind. That means like 1 out of every 10 people that you meet that's over the age of 30 will sprint for the rest of their life.
Like a dead sprint.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I still sprint
today. I did some on Monday.
Yeah. But I think it's really wild when you think about that.
Well, so that goes down to, actually kind of to jump back, because I was talking about the CrossFit thing. I really like CrossFit for the competitiveness. I like the grid because you could really do what you did well, which is why I like teams and partnerships and stuff. We talked about it. Because if you get in my lane if you want to, and then like, I can do muscle ups. I can do muscle ups, but like,
some of these people
But try and fuck with, Eric on the ring. So, go ahead, try, know. And plus, I'm going to give him a head start because I'm going to crush you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have to save myself and try to do.
Right.
So I like that. But, yeah.
Yeah, the idea that 90% of people will never sprint.
You can just go out and sprint.
Yeah, I mean, if you go outside right now after watching this, which stretch, please don't pull a hamstring. Yes. And then you sprinted and you're over the age of 30, you are now in the 10%.
Maybe warm up, maybe do a cup, maybe do a week, of run training. But no, like, I guess, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but my philosophy on the training part of it, and I know we've talked some about this, but if your heart's going to go, or your whatever's, it's going to go in a high duress environment, the easiest way to like train that is to get near that. And that's not by jogging forever.
Right.
And arguably you're causing like deteriorating small injuries with like but that like, I'm not saying if you have a medical kit, consult your doctor, all those, whatever I need to say there. But like, if you go get on an air bike and you give it hell for 30 to 60 seconds.
Oh yeah.
You will feel a way that will kind of let you know whether or not you are in shape or not.
Yeah,
and it takes all of that long. And so,
and I think
not sprinting might be why we get in these heart attacks, because then your heart rate just shoots up and you're, not a doctor. Also, the climate is another reason too, though, because they've already said that spending, like an hour in a sauna throughout the week, so however you divide that time up, will reduce your chance of like cardiovascular death by 50%. And again, this is your heart rate gets elevated when you get in the sauna. I believe
that. And you're in kind of like one of those
like the Russian bathhouses where they're like there's a cold tub in the middle. Yeah, it's pretty neat. You beat each other with olive branch leaves or olive branches. You're like,
I haven't seen that part. So
you wear the weird hats. You wear the little hats in the steam room. They have one in Miami. We need to go to it.
But bringing up a point that I like to talk about, it's really cool to see that there's now some medical side of this. And I showed you, but the Andrew Huberman, David Goggins, when they were talking and they were talking about the part of the brain.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what the
he said it doesn't matter what it means, right?
Something.
But it is like a gland.
But there's there's a particular spot in your brain, and what they found is that when you do things that you don't want to do, that spot of your brain grows, and that spot is bigger in athletes. It's bigger in people like high achievers, and then it's smaller in like obese people, and then it's also smaller in older people. And they kind of attribute it to like the will to live is what he said. But for me, I look at it like you were talking about, like discipline and things like that. And I think that really is cool to know that, like, when people say discipline's a muscle, well, it really might be a mind muscle that you are actually, in fact, growing a portion of your brain.
Yes. Nobody, I'm sorry, man. Nobody chooses the hard thing. Yeah, look up what it's called. Nobody wakes up and chooses the hard thing, man. It's
anterior cingulate cortex.
Anterior cingulate cortex.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But you do the hard thing because you feel better about yourself, or you've decided that it's the right thing to do. We all want the ability to Sorry, turn that on silent here. No. We all want the ability to eat the cake or do the things or say fuck work or just do, but we don't. And every time we do the thing we're supposed to do in light, man, it's like the whatever we called it, the baby steps towards the road. Of sin, man. When you grow that part, possibly also when you grow that part of your brain, you know you're working towards, I don't know, the light. Good.
Something better. Yeah.
God's way, whatever.
I know this might sound stupid, but also like I do hard things that I don't want to do because I'm almost saying like telling my body, because my body's what doesn't want to get in the cold plunge, right?
That's right.
I'm telling my body that my mind has control.
It does.
Like you don't get to decide what I'm going to do. I get to decide what I'm going to do.
That's
and
right.
yes, this doesn't feel good and it's uncomfortable, but we're getting in, you know?
Well, and yeah, we take the biblical route and we talk about some of that on here, but we say that like God tests, it's no reason you can't test yourself and know what you're made of to already know that, you know, what you can go through. And when you like, dude, you know how, all right, so there's two sides of it, man, and people are going to look at it two ways, like the toxic masculinity side of like, you saw Alex get in there. It was hard for him. It's a lot less hard for you because you've been doing it. There's one side that's like, haha, yeah. Not because he's suffering, but because you get to feel good about yourself.
Because
right?
you're like, I'm hard.
It's natural, okay? It's a completely natural. But the other side of that coin is like, you're not afraid to probably jump in colder water to do something if you had to than the other person that's going to go like, oh, I'm going to get hypothermia. And you're like, nah, you got a few minutes. You'll be all right.
You got a while.
Yeah. Truthfully.
Yeah.
And you can only develop that. You can only read how to ride a bicycle so much.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading that Scott, I think Scott Carney or something like that. He wrote the book on Wim Hof and it's like what doesn't kill us. And, and he goes and trains with him.
That.
So, but he starts talking about the truth is because most people don't exercise the muscle control needed to activate certain parts of their body, they don't even realize what they're capable of. So when you get into the cold water, they talk about in the book, like how to actually force circulation and blood flow from your feet all the way up, like, cause your body immediately goes in vasodilates to keep blood from flowing to your core so that all of the blood kind of just stays in your stomach and around your organs. That's why people's hands and feet go numb quick, but there's a way to literally do that. And then Wim Hof, which I haven't gotten that far in the book yet, he says that he literally was able to activate his brown fat mentally. And they did a study. He was in the tub. They said in 45 minutes at the temperature he was at, you would have hypothermia. He was in there for 72 minutes and his temperature was like warmer than when he started. And they decided that at this point they might as well just pull him out.
You know, he could be an exception to the rule. It could be he's tapped into some stuff maybe we can all tap into.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger incrementally. I also believe that learning how to control panic and learning what to do with that adrenaline in your system, you can feel it in your skin and you can feel it in your skin in a high adrenaline situation. If you guys have ever experienced that.
It's like, you're talking about like tingling almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing like it makes people loose. It makes people make terrible decisions. They try to simulate that in a lot of like military training.
I always feel it in my chest and head too. Like I get this like light, almost like this euphoric feeling. Cause I mean, I'm sure you're just pumped with adrenaline, right? You know, so.
It's meant to like dull pain,
right?
Dull sense, like just kind of like, I don't know what the whole point of it is, but it definitely dulls pain. But it makes people make weird decisions and it makes people lose kind of control. So, you know, the 32 degree water isn't the same as like maybe whatever the absolute coldest was, but you'd be better suited than the person who wasn't training. Right. Or something. Not that maybe that's a real fear, but it builds up a resiliency and a confidence about yourself and that like shit, the difference between like, you may not be a professional boxer, but there's a huge difference between the guy who shadow boxes in the mirror and spars at the local gym. The guy who spars at the local gym might not even be good, but he's used to getting them hits, man. He, you know, I mess around. If you don't do at least that. So yeah, there's always levels, but it's always good. And it always, I think it adds one thing adds to another. All my CrossFit stuff, all my athletic stuff always help my business stuff. Cause I'm like, I've faced tougher odds.
Well, yeah, that's why I feel like that's a great just tie-in to it is like doing hard things. Like, so maybe for you, it's like going to the gym, skipping out on like going out to eat somewhere or whatever it is. But those things are also practical in the business world, like you were saying, because you have to forego a lot of things you would want to do for things that you need to do or have to do for your business. You
do
know?
today what others won't, you know, so
Right.
you do tomorrow what others can't.
Well, and play the long-term game of like, you know, I could do this and I'll have these smaller results, but if I'm willing to just invest a little bit more time and patience into it, the results are a lot larger on the other end, you know?
That's right.
So I think that it all ties together. But I just thought it was really interesting that we saw that Andrew Huberman thing talking about that particular part of your brain.
He's a
because
smart
it's like,
dude, man. I like a lot of the stuff.
I didn't know he like teaches neuroscience.
He's a smart dude. I like the way I like the way he puts stuff together, you know?
Yeah.
That's big. Because I don't need to agree with everything you say to be like a subject matter. I kind of have places where I like to get information about certain things. And I like that he will put caveats where he doesn't fully understand things. That's big to me. I don't need to know that it's, you know, complete fact. Just tell me. This is what you think? Okay, cool, man. I don't have an opinion. That's our opinion for now. Update me when our opinion changes, but it's not factual yet.
Right.
Don't say it is because I might repeat it and I don't want to be an idiot. You know?
Yeah. And I like, his podcast is really cool too, because he has a lot of experts on and he asks questions and he's like, I don't know the answer to this. And he asks questions. I think it's really interesting. It's a humble thing. A lot of people of his level of intelligence on these subjects wouldn't want to admit that they didn't maybe know some of these things.
It is a sign of true intelligence. True intellectuals know they know nothing, because think about all the things you could possibly know in this whole world, right? And so, you know, a true intellectual, in my opinion, I mean, they know some things, but like, tell me, why is that your perspective? They may even want to go, now you may be going down the, whatever you call it, the philosophical route, but like, why is it that is your conclusion that is the thing? So there's so much to know or learn, I guess.
And then,
that's cool.
Yeah. So right now, you know, Adam and I are with Growing Fat and Weird are kind of in that phase where we're having to forego the short-term things for the long-term things. And I think that planning part is very difficult because there's so much uncertainty. So I know
timing and
so the city has actually Sean replied to the comments today. So the city has seen all of our comments back for a development order. Like I would say we could have our development order in the next sometime this month. We would probably have a development order, which means that we could immediately start on the expansion of Fat and Weird's building, which would almost double it. But we also are kind of holding off because this month we have Myers picking up their order finally. Long story short, they had logistics issues, but they're coming to get it, I think, next week. I think. Hopefully. Yeah. And then at the same time, Benny Keith is picking up an order tomorrow to start their distribution. And then we roll out in Cold Stone on the 17th. So in 2 weeks from today. And then also we find out about Publix next week. And Christian actually said I don't know if you know this, he went and ate dinner with a HEB manager buyer.
Cool.
Last night.
Sweet.
So, and we find out about HEB next week as well, potentially. HEB might be the week after. So there's a lot going on. And because we don't know exactly the direction that Fat and Weird is going to go, we can't really start the edition because we have to figure out what we're going to do. And we may be going to Atlanta next week to tour a old Pillsbury plant. Woohoo! So they have a 180,000 square foot plant up there that we're going to go look at.
We about to make muffins, y'all.
Yeah, we're going to make Fat and Weird.
We're going to make some dough, though. I can tell you that.
Comment down below what we should make besides cookies. You know, someone was like, you should make breakfast sandwiches. So
that's
I
weird.
was like,
pizza.
Fat and Weird pizza. Like pizza rolls. Like those.
Yeah. Bao buns.
Bao bun style. Yeah.
No, I want some bao buns.
Well, I mean, I love kolaches a lot. In Houston, it's a really big thing in Houston. And kolaches are essentially, I love bread. So when you add bread to anything, I like it probably. So if you say oh, here's this pizza dough that's stuffed with calzone pockets or the calzone balls, if you will. And then we have, there was one that was like the place near us used to do like crazy flavors. Like there was a one that was like a biscuit kind of, and then it had sausage gravy on the inside. So that was really good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So there was that kind of stuff. I was like, man, I'd love to make that kind of stuff because I would eat out of it, you know. But yeah, so we're going up there to tour that facility as well. Then we also have our other co-packer that's on the West Coast that we're still working on things with. So there's just like a lot up in the air. And I think a lot of that can just be difficult, you know.
It's busy and it's,
but like hurry up and wait busy.
Yeah. So get a whole bunch of stuff done, then wait, and then kind of like worry, even though, you know, you try not to, but you're thinking about the places, you know. I'm thinking about Georgia now. Why? Not just because I know about it. Because like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Like, is that going to even be a route? What do I need to be doing now that I should, like, where are we going to get to in a month where I'm like, oh, I should have been working on that already, or that's a question I should have asked or something. Same with, you know, Janie Lou's and all this different stuff. And so
I think
whatever.
The hardest part in business, which you've said a lot, is like you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of times you just get blindsided by something and you're like, man, I feel like I should have seen that coming. But the truth is, it's like you just sometimes don't get to know. You know?
You get better with the predictions because you kind of feel like you've seen it before. You kind of know, but you never know.
Yeah, it's just like experience with all that stuff, you know. I had never been to a process expo before and saw equipment that I didn't even know existed. Well, I mean, when I started Fat and Weird, I didn't even know equipment I have now existed, right?
Never thought about it.
It's just you kind of just like stack up knowledge in that realm and then you get better. And being around other people in that realm, going to events and things like that can obviously help you stack up that knowledge a lot quicker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cuts the barrier down, man. I mean, I did the franchisee world for a while. You know, they cut all that industry knowledge to where I could just kind of do what I did. And mine was on the growth and development of the total thing or whatever. And, you know, I had partners that had their own roles, and I didn't have to even deal too much with the running of the stores or staffing because I had a partner that did that.
Right.
So that was kind of cool, talking about everybody getting to do their own role and go real hard in their lanes. That was kind of nice.
So just a quick question on this, actually, since we're talking about franchising and stuff, why did you pick like a Slim Chickens franchise? Because technically it's a fairly new chicken franchise.
Because I could get involved, because we could get involved, man. You try getting involved with these powerhouses, boy. Your net worths have to be so damn high. You need to have been like a multi-unit operator. It's just hard to jump through the hoops. It's actually funny. We picked it. So my first
How'd
franchise,
you hear about
it? U.S. Lawns, one of my companies, was doing storm cleanup work for the managing partner of the Sonic drive-ins here. And we were all talking about it. Me and my U.S. Lawns business partner and him were all talking about it in the parking lot after the storm at the Callaway Sonic drive-in. And kind of going, how much does one of these things cost to get up and running? What do we need to do?
A Sonic?
A Sonic.
Okay.
And Chris was telling us, and then, man, we didn't really think anything of it. And then about a week later, he's like, what you think about these couple of brands?
Okay.
And we kind of settled on chicken, and then we kind of found Slim Chickens.
Can
and
you tell me the other brands?
Well, all the other, like Cane's, Zaxby's was already here, so that was a no-go.
But was there any genre outside of chicken that you talked about?
No, we settled. We looked at a couple other ones, but we didn't settle on any. We all kind of agreed on chicken, really, just because of the margins and the consistency of product. Their volume. Everybody eats chicken.
Who doesn't love fried chicken?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, people will eat some kind of chicken multiple times a week. They eat burgers less per week,
right?
Just in frequency. And so it had to be a home run for us. None of us had enough money to do it. So just like, it was very calculated, just like I said, statistical averages, running numbers going, like there's always a way for anything to fail, but we just,
analytically, it makes sense.
It made it real hard to fail. And so, yeah, that's why we picked Slim's. But then Slim said, oh, actually, before you can even be a franchisee, you have to own and operate other stores. And we're like, okay, shit. But luckily we were able to scoop some up in Louisiana. I know we've talked about that. But.
Yeah, no, the whole Louisiana thing is so interesting to me because I kind of got like, I wouldn't say lucky, right? Because when you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
So you were looking for something, but
yes.
it was a fortunate situation, you know?
I was not looking for it when we found it. I mean, we were looking for it elsewhere.
Right.
Right. Lord, man, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because yes, we were looking for it. In no way were we looking for it how we found it.
Yeah.
We found it through a mutual connection on some different work with a different type of company with people that couldn't have even ever known we were wanting to make acquisitions. And a lot of these folks, these franchisees and franchisors, they're used to dealing with people with big money. And so like two of the companies I was in, even though we did good revenue with them, is commercial landscaping and trash. So people kind of have this assumption that they're like above you or whatever. They had no idea, but they talked to us and, you know, we kind of found out, and my business partner, Chris, was qualified to run them via Sonic. We had to go to Oklahoma City, meet with them, give them the rundown. They were trying to actually sell us some in like Minnesota or somewhere.
Sonics or?
Some Sonics, but like they hadn't been paying royalty fees, and I caught that on the P&L, and they were all kind of like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, you're going to let us not pay royalties too? Anyways, kind of getting off topic here, but yeah, we were able to buy 4 Sonics in Slidell, Louisiana, with the agreement with Sonic that we would build at least 3 more. So cool, rock and roll. Now
Did you build 3 more in Slidell or around Slidell?
No, the next one went in Quincy, and then the other 2 were going around Tallahassee.
Okay.
Then
how quickly did you jump on Slim Chickens after the Sonic thing? So essentially you're like, hey, we just bought these Sonics. We qualified now?
Yeah, I don't remember when we closed on them, but it was like, let's say we closed in January or February. We were signing on Slims in March.
Oh, okay.
And then
so you stuck to the plan. You're like, hey, we were here to make Slim Chickens.
Yeah. Well, the plan had been built out, man. We had we had an exit. We had a lot of stuff lined up. It was just.
Well, yeah, I know a lot more about your plan than you probably shared here before, but long story short, you're able to like build these franchise locations and then immediately sell the dirt underneath them as like a lease situation. So then you could take that cash and then kind of keep going.
So if you can go out, and again, this is all based on like your network and your skill, but if you can go out and find somebody who wants, and you're going to have to know people that understand this type of shit. But if you can find somebody that wants a fixed payment of X dollars a month and it's backed by real estate, they don't really give a shit what it is, as long as they believe that you're going to be able to pay them.
Right. And if you don't pay them, that whatever it is going to be easy enough to sell to get their money back.
Yeah. But with this type of stuff, it's so specific and so niche and so whatever that that's really not what they want to hear.
Okay.
But yes, also that if it can be converted into something, but like think about a Walmart, dude. Like if a Walmart comes and takes up a shopping center, there's nothing else that really can go in there.
Right. Yeah.
And so like you're kind of screwed.
Right.
So we were doing these Slim Chicken restaurants because we had the other stores, because we had the Sonics. We were stronger because we could kind of cross collateralize the lease payment.
Right.
We found a buyer that wanted a percentage of return on his money invested. And so, but he didn't want to, he wanted to pay for it at the end. Okay. So like basically, think of an easy way to say this. I sold a hypothetical completed building for an amount of millions of dollars with a guaranteed rent payment of X.
Right.
Okay. So I will sell you this for this much money a month forever, basically. We got a developer involved to bring the cash in the mid-range and to do the polishing and the selling. They also brought more of these types of people to the table later.
Yeah.
That allows you to pour gas on it and get going faster.
Yeah.
It is called a sale lease back program.
Sale lease back,
the short thing that it says clothes, but it's a short-term close.
Okay.
And so basically you're able to close on the property, do whatever you need to. So in our instance, raw dirt, develop, all dot, 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 get it open, get it churning revenue, have the lease in place to the property, and then you sell that property bound to an LLC with the contractual like lease agreement, goes to the next guy. They're looking at a cap rate or a percentage return of their money.
Right.
Yada, yada, rock and roll. Well, we paid extra, if you will. We sold it for more than we needed so that we could put equipment into it, which is not normally a great plan. But because interest rates were pretty good, we were able to make that work with our business plan. It'd be probably pretty hard to do now. The reason you don't want to do that is like you're going to have to replace equipment every, say, 5 to 10 years. And that lease is for 20 to 30, meaning you're leasing equipment twice. But speed, we were able to get 7 of them bad boys open that would have cost $14-15 million. We didn't have $14-15 million. Boom, we made money on the openings. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. I just think that, you and I have talked about that. I want you to share that just because I think it's a really unique thing that a lot of people don't even understand that exists.
You don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lot of it I've learned just through the real estate. It's almost like when you're buying like an apartment complex that has revenue or rent payments coming in, you can sell it for more than the apartment complex is normally worth if it was just an empty building, because it's not a building you're buying. It's
that's how it's assessed. Yeah, you're assessed as a business rate.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you can force the appreciation. That's why we like multifamily so much.
Right. So it's
raise the rates just cause.
Yeah.
You can buy it and just say rent's $100 or more, cause.
Yeah.
Or move out. And if there's a wait list or whatever, and there's 300 units, you can run the math and times whatever the cap rate is, you might have just forced the appreciation of a couple $1 million.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
6 months, a year, whatever it takes for leases to turn.
Yeah. So obviously all this stuff was a lot easier to do when interest rates were like sub
Yeah, but now
4.
people are wanting to owner finance, so it's okay. They just want to owner finance some kind of whack ass deals.
Yeah.
Like I'll pay a high interest rate. I'm gonna have to do it with the bank, but you're not a bank. I'm not gonna. A lot of them are like, yeah, plus fees. I'm like, dude, I didn't like paying them fees when the banks were doing it. Yeah. I'm not paying them to you. You're just making that shit up.
That's why I hate doing something.
I'm doing all the paperwork.
You do a loan, you get the interest rate, and then you like close on it, and you're like, why am I paying you like $4,000 just to do this loan? And it's like, oh yeah, all the fees. It's like, you're not gonna make enough money already on me at 7% interest
points.
So yeah, that's but no, I think that's just a fascinating, thing that you guys were doing, and it was just
it opened my eyes to money in general, and like first of all, like what's possible. I mean, I just didn't understand that.
Did you meet a lot of the high net worth individuals from the franchising, or did you know a lot of them beforehand? Like I know you've mentioned before,
some
like
from the grid, which was a good network builder for me. Some from the gym here, which was a good network builder for me here. But yeah, as far as if it wasn't from one of those two, it was for me traveling around this damn country looking for money or running my mouth or doing something for.
Like, where did you meet the guy that does like the dining show things? The meal, I'm talking about like
local guy.
It's a local guy?
Yeah,
okay.
Personal training client of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, a great dude.
And
his family, they were from Tennessee. He actually was one of him and another lady helped me buy our building.
Oh, yeah. So
cool guy.
Yeah. The truth is, a lot of people are willing to help you, especially if it makes them money on the other end.
100%. If it helps make them money, but there are also a lot of people that I think we self-perpetuate. Everybody likes to help somebody.
Yeah.
If it's helpful, if they're really getting benefit. I don't think anybody likes to have their ass kissed, but I helped you. There's a mutual moment or something. I think we're guarded from that because we feel like we're just going to do for someone or like a hand out or like a whatever. But like investing in people, like they made plenty of money off that deal. But I know that they were happy to help me get that building, put the gym in it at that time. Even though they were sad that the gym had to close, we lost all our members. I mean, I think
after the hurricane,
after the hurricane, we lost, but I think they're still happy that it helped my family get ahead. Why would they not be? Because I mean, just imagine, like you only need so much. And then above that, you probably only want so much until you're just in like weirdly greedy territory.
Right.
unless there's a reason. I mean, people that want to grow their companies bigger and bigger, they're not necessarily, but if you're just like, oh, I just need to be Scrooge McDuck.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people that like are trying to grow their companies massive, and it's not for the monetary side. It's more egotistical.
Yes,
it's like they want their name to be known to like the world, you know,
which makes more sense to me than the pure greed part, right? Because like after you live a certain level of like.
Well, also it's just
I don't want to like walk around on caviar and like wash my hair with like champagne. Also,
unless you're somebody that like legitimately changed the world or invented something,
nobody's gonna remember.
Nobody's gonna remember you in 100 years.
No. Nobody's gonna remember you in.
Well, I mean, the only names you know are people like Rockefellers and like these.
Most
big
kids
names
don't know
like
their
that.
grandparents' name.
Yeah, great grandparents, right?
Most people don't know their grandparents' name.
Okay.
Not our age, kids' age.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Or they have to go, wait.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I saw something. It literally said something about you. You definitely, I think it was Hormozy that posted like, you don't know your great grandparents.
Yeah, like what was your
great
what was your great grandma's dad's name?
Yeah. What did your great grandparents do?
What was your literal? What was 50% of your lineage pre your parent? You know, or grandparents or whatever. Like they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so I think a lot of times like this is meant to motivate you, not to like say you down that like everyone says like, I don't care what other people think about me, but we all do care what other people think about us 100%. To some extent. And I think that
at least what some people do.
Yeah.
At least some people care.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing to care.
Yeah, I agree. You probably psychopath. Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
But no, like that whole side of it is don't forego your dreams because of other people's wishes for your life or whatever it is, because the truth is when they're dead or when people are dead, like no one's going to remember, so
man, I want to make, money let's just keep it on the money side of things, but I want to make so much money that, in the first part of my life that I can give away, unlock and free whomever the hell I want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave my kids so much money that they're spoiled assholes. I want to leave them seed capital to hopefully do something similar to what I did. Go out there, make a bunch of money, do what you can, get your name out there, and then help those that can't help themselves.
Yep.
Like we talked about, Fat and Weird, we want to do some charity stuff. It's inner city and some different things. But there are areas of the world and just where like there is no bootstrapping it, dog.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah, you can't. So that's really cool. I'd like to do that. And what I'd like to teach my kids from that is that or rather, if I want to leave a name for myself, I feel like you could leave a lineage, not with money.
Yeah.
Because I know a local family here rich as hell and they don't know where,
Right.
But with a way of doing for others or whatever. I know some folks with the trusts and stuff that do a lot of good, and I like that.
Yeah. I think, we're under the same page as that. Like I've said that like one of my goals, and I'm going to achieve this, is I want to be able to walk into the local Walmart and say, which I don't even know if they do layaways anymore, but maybe they do, and just be like,
swipe.
And I want to be able to buy that, or I want to be able to, we did the Toys for Tots.
Make it bigger every year.
We did Stuff the Bus, right? And we went and we spent, we bought like 80-ish toys, we spent quite a bit of money, but at the end of the day, like I want to do 10 times that, So
yes, me too.
And I think there's
a guy, Rod Khleif, involved with his real estate stuff, but he's got a Tiny Hands Foundation that is so cool. One of the programs they do, this is sad, but they do stuffed bears and stuffed animals for domestic
kids that go to CPS and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so that's really cool.
Right.
Because that could be so comforting. And then they do the backpack deals and they do some other stuff.
Yeah.
But when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that's a cool one.
Yeah. I started the
Shout out Tiny Hands.
Building the bikes for kids that were in like orphanage or child protective services at BASF. They wanted a team building exercise at near the end of the year. And I said, hey, let's take money from all the organizations. Cause there's a lot of, in these corporate companies like BASF, they had like a vets organization for veterans. They had, LGBTQ organization. They had a women in business. They had a, just all kinds of different organizations, right? And we were like, we got every single organization to kind of pitch in a little bit of money at the end, and we would build 60, 70 bikes for kids.
That's cool.
And it was a team building because you're all like trying to put these bikes together and build them.
We did that at, where did we do that? Shit. Slims, US Lawns. I don't know. They all had those. So at every conference and at every get together, there would be some kind of, which I really enjoyed, even though it was corny as hell, the habitat or the build a home for some, or the build the bikes. We built bikes for somebody. I want to say it's US Lawns. It sounds like a US Lawns thing, but we did it in a team building style.
Yeah.
And so we put together, I don't know how many bikes, all the different franchisees and everybody they brought were different teams. And so
Yeah.
I think we were able to get like 2 together in our team in the allotted time.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And it was always like a race. It'd be like,
I think it's the same group of people that like go around and probably go to BASF, probably do it at the US Lawns convention.
So the first year we did it through a group that does that. And then I realized how much money they're making. So then the next year, because I was in procurement and we have an entire procurement department. I asked the procurement department, like, let's reach out to Huffy and like all these bike manufacturers.
For you, dog.
And we saved so much money that we were able to build like 70% more bikes.
That's so good.
So
That's so good.
That's actually something I brought up to North Star, was doing bikes, and they were going to Walmart and buying them. And I said, don't do that. I said, contact Huffy, tell them what, you know, what you're doing, and they'll bring them in. Yeah. And I told them that too next year. I was like,
import
let me
them
know
for you.
beforehand next time, and we'll bring them in a container.
100%.
So, but yeah, especially, I know it's bad, but when it's for like special things like that, it's like, I feel like Walmart and them should almost like cut out a lot of their profit, but you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's for a good cause, man, you know?
I think if the world were set up differently and they could wash their taxable basis and they were like, hey, we don't want to pay the federal government because we're really helping locals, I'd be all for that too, man.
Yeah.
But you can't. So.
Well, there are some like local things that some cities do provide, where like tax breaks and tax advantages. Like for us, you know, I think there's one we've working with the city talking about, there's a merchant tax, which don't get me started on, I don't think that we should even have it, but because they call it a tax and then it's called a fee and it's called all kinds of things, because when you're tax exempt, they still want you to pay it. Yeah. But long story short, there's a 0.5% on wholesale and 1% on regular sales. And, you know, they've worked out deals where people can collect that money, but then keep it for, you know, expansion if you're providing jobs in the area or like whatever it is. So
gotta work on that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, some of it's too, I know we have it in where you can do that against your property tax increase. So like you're going to, which is also crazy. Like you're going to pay to build out your building to be nicer, and then you owe the city more money for that. But okay. But
I don't even want to get on the subject of taxes, right?
Taxes are wild, but yeah, you can also do that. So that's a couple of different programs I know we're kicking the tires on. But
if you think that your taxes on your house are a lot of money, build a commercial building and you will get property taxes and then insurance, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Have a commercial building go through a hurricane.
Yeah, I'm sure I haven't get to that part. So, but we've been going for about 45 minutes now. All so
right. In the oven, baby.
Yeah,
we in the oven.
Yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed this time with us. We will let you guys know next week, hopefully, about Publix.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
know.
supposed to know like Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully, pray for us on that one. But you're worth it. Do hard shit.